our guest of honor, Dr. M.S. Valyathan, the first Vice Chancellor of Manipal University and currently National Research Professor for the Government of India. Pro Vice Chancellor of Manipal University, Dr. H. Vinod Bhatt, Director Research of Manipal University and the author of today's publication, Dr. N. Udupa. Members of the audience, those who are present here live, as well as those who have logged in onto our website, web telecast, Team MUP, good evening to all of you. It's indeed a happy day for Manipal University Press, which in its short existence of a little less than 2 years, is coming out with its 20th publication. And it is a pleasure that we are all here today to share this momentous occasion. At the outset, I request Dr. Nita Inamdar to welcome the gathering.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So we come before you again, this time with another publication, one more to add. That's the 20th publication. It's really, we are very proud to present this new book that we are bringing out, Exploring Nanotechnology in Healthcare. And like as always, we have a new book and a very, very prominent guest to release the book. And on this occasion, I would like to welcome you all. And it's very nice today that we have Professor Valyathan with us to release this particular book, who has been an author himself. As my colleague Dr. Suma already said, he was the first Vice Chancellor of Manipal University and of course contributed significantly in that role, and even today continues to do so. He established the Manipal Life Sciences Center and also presently also ensuring a lot of research activity takes place. He is also a publisher of several monographs and books and number of papers. And but his work on legacy of Charaka, based on Charaka Samhita, and which with a fellowship of Homi Bhabha Council, and a companion volume on the legacy of Sushruta, and a study of the last great trinity of Ayurveda, the legacy of Vagbhata, and many scientific papers have actually generated a lot of discussion in the scientific area that he has been working on for years now. So we also have our programs where we have the authors addressing audiences, and this time it's good that we have one of the prominent authors with us who's going to speak about another book and also tell us about the current publication that we are presenting before you. So we're really proud to have you with us, sir. He is a recipient of several awards, several of them. The list goes really long, but of course the most interesting them of all, known to all of us, is definitely Padma Vibhushana, which he received in 2005. We really, with all warm feelings, we would like to welcome him. I request Pratima to welcome him with a bouquet on this occasion. Dr. Vinod Bhatt was going to preside, who's presiding over this function today. So of course, all this is happening is because of him, and we have said that several times. Every time we meet here for another release, we know it's because of him. So I welcome you again, sir, on this occasion. I request Srini to hand over a bouquet to sir. And Dr. Udupa, because of him, today we are here. He did a lot of work behind this book. When we started working on it 6 months ago, we did not know how it would work out. There was just a proposal stage. So everything has happened only in last 6 months. It's really one of the books which was very easy for us to work with. So we work with several authors now, several of them. Sometimes there is a delay from some side, and sometimes from copy editors, some from the reviewers. Sometimes, we have over a period of time we have learned it, how the delays happen. But in this particular book, we realized it was very quick. I mean, from proposal to the publication, the release, actually it all happened in 6 months. That too, when it's not only one author but several authors involved. But it's because of the leader like Dr. Udupa, who led this entire exercise, it was possible. And also because of Angel, I would like to especially mention Angel. She's really been an angel in this entire thing. She did a good job throughout and facilitated. Everything happened so quickly for us. So on this occasion, special welcome to Dr. Udupa because it's his book, his day today. So I would like to welcome all our audience on who have come for the webcast, who are there virtually present for this, and also all who have come here. So very proud to have you with us. So welcome once again. Thanks.
This is going to be rather quick. So may I now request Professor Vallithan to release the book. So, may I request you to kindly address the audience?
Dr. Vinod Bhatt, Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. Udupa, distinguished guests, colleagues and friends, I am delighted to be here this afternoon because I know what the publication of a book involves. For the authors, for the university, and knowing how complex and difficult it is, I must greatly compliment the Manipal University, Dr. Vinod Bhatt, who took the initiative, and the author, Dr. Udupa, for putting this together. Because even though the book doesn't look very big, but the effort, I can assure you, is very big. Because a subject like nanotechnology, which is a buzzword. Everybody uses nanotechnology. Some 10, 15 years ago it was biotechnology, so it keeps on. But that hype apart, there is a great deal of importance in nanotechnology. To keep oneself up to date in this area, collect all the relevant information, because nanotechnology involves many sciences. It involves chemistry, it involves physics, it involves engineering, material science, biology, to collect the relevant material from all these disciplines and put it together in a readable form like Dr. Udupa has eminently succeeded. I know how difficult it is. So I must compliment Dr. Udupa and for the university for bringing out an excellent publication. I have glanced through some chapters, read some chapters. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And I have also read several other publications, not all of them, of the university. And I consider it a very important initiative in Manipal University because we are known as many people regard it even now as a medical university. In fact, when I came here, one of the very senior people here told me that a deemed university is only supposed to be dealing with one discipline. So at that time we had only medical colleges, dental colleges and a nursing college. We didn't have any other college at that time. I'm talking about 94. I was told that that is all you are supposed to do. You are not supposed to get into any other disciplines. So I sort of mildly protested. I said the UGC guidelines, they don't say that. He said, no, but that is, you should remember that. But that's a total misconception. Once a university is declared as a deemed university, according to the UGC Act, then it is no different from any other university. And university means universality of knowledge. As the Yashpal Committee so eloquently puts it, there are no boundaries. There may be boundaries in the practice of medicine, practice of engineering, practice of law. You may have to get licensed to practice. That's a different thing. But knowledge of law, knowledge of medicine, there are no boundaries. It's a seamless world of knowledge. So I think that Manipal, by bringing out this, starting a publications department, it brings in the element of, apart from the sciences, I have seen publications on humanities. Best stories, for example. Sanskrit. So many things which I heard from her the other day. Now this is what is required. All the rigidities of specialities, they get lubricated by this humanities. So it's a very important initiative. I'm so glad that this has happened. And especially nanotechnology, is of very great importance, even though we hear about it so much now. It is really not a new subject. Because many thousands of years ago, in India, we used to make lots of things nanomaterials. They never called them nanomaterials because the eye collyrium, which the grandmothers used to make in the house, the lamp black, there was a special way, at least in Kerala, I used to see grandmothers, mothers making this collyrium. Now that collyrium is carbon, but actually it is nanocarbon. It is not the charcoal that we see. Similarly, if you look at Ayurveda, as you know, in which I have been interested for the last 10 years, there is a standing controversy on mercury bhasmas which are used. These are mercury-derived powders. As you know, in modern medicine, we will never think of using anything remotely connected with mercury because mercury is highly toxic. But you talk to an Ayurvedic physician or a Siddha physician in Tamil Nadu, they will tell you we have been using it for hundreds of years. We don't see all these nephrotoxicity and all that you are talking about. Now, dismissing what they say as nonsense, that is not science. Science is to examine how do you explain this riddle. On the one hand, we know it is undoubtedly toxic, but on the other hand, centuries of experience, they say it is not toxic. Now, that riddle, the answer is in science. So in one of the projects we have supported, a very eminent material scientist, and nanomaterials is material science. In Kharagpur IIT, one of the most advanced materials lab in India, he got bhasma made exactly as prescribed in the old texts in Kottakkal. Some of you may have heard. Gari Vaidyashala is more than 100 years old. They stick to old protocols, very strict in quality control. And this bhasma which they prepared was analyzed by Professor Roy's group in IIT Kharagpur. It took something like 2 years. I don't understand all the various types of spectroscopy, electron microscopy, a whole series of tests in very advanced labs. And what they have finally found is the crystalline phase. And remember, making the bhasma is a very elaborate process. You have to purify the mercury, purify the sulfur, then you have to mix them with a certain vegetable juice and grind them. It goes on. It takes several days to make it. Now that particular bhasma, it is, when you look at it, it is mercury sulfide, chemically, only mercury and sulfur. If you chemically synthesize in IIT, it is mercury and sulfur. And this Rasa Sindoor, as it is called, that is also mercury and sulfur. There is nothing else in it. They have analyzed it. But when you look at the physical structure, that is where the difference comes. The mercury sulfide, which is chemically synthesized, it has a single crystalline phase. But in the Rasa Sindoor, which also contains mercury and sulfur, it exists in 4 crystalline phases. And the particle size, that is where the nanotransformation, all the particles are less than 200 angstrom. And it is nanocrystalline. So therefore, the nano form of a material, properties are entirely different from the bulk form. Like the eye collyrium which was used, the properties are very different from charcoal or carbon. So this could well be that work has not been done. Only the project was to look at the microstructure of Rasa Sindoor. Now therefore, even though nobody knew about nanomaterials and all that, somehow they had been using nanomaterials long time ago. Maybe in China they were using. So this is something which we should realize. But today what has happened, especially the Feynman's insight into this, the man who started the whole nano concept, he was a physicist, way ahead of his time, Nobel laureate. After that, the whole science has opened up. And when you have such tiny, very, very tiny particles, the surface area is enormous. That is one of the very important properties of nanomaterials. Surface area is huge. And many other physical properties are different. So this has been exploited for finding applications in drug delivery, for example, the subject of Dr. Udupa's interest. For example, turmeric. Turmeric is notoriously, bioavailability is very small. It is not absorbed. Now, if you make it in nano form, then it becomes very large.